about these kind of things. So mental health continuum is a model like this one, right? They views mental health not as healthy or as sick binary, but as a spectrum that move along. So maybe this morning for me, I'm quite struggling, but maybe in the afternoon, I might be thriving, right? So we all change. So what we have to do is that we acknowledge that we are not fixed in certain box, certain phase, right? So we can move. So we try to move along to the left or right side of the spectrum. Okay, and then last activity for last week was making human spectrum about each statement, right? Remember? And then we couldn't quite finish, but since this is a morning, why don't you move a bit just for one sentence, okay? Let's look at number 7. You think that social media helps your mental health more than it hurts it? So think about this sentence. Social media helps my mental health more than it hurts it. Okay. So you can put your belongings there or where it is, but you just stand up and try to position. Okay. So again, if you strongly agree, number 7, and you can go to left wall. And then if you strongly disagree, you can go to this wall, okay? Why don't you set your position? You are the only one who cannot enjoy my life like that. So this kind of thought can cause you some harm. And then there's a word, FOMO, right? FOMO. If I remember, you're missing out. Okay, so there's a syndrome called FOMO. So everyone. So for example, in the classroom, but sometimes your cell phone rings, signals that someone uploads some kind of
Videos.
Instagram feeds, and then you need to check right now, right? That kind of thing is FOMO. Because everybody else knows something about what's your friend doing, and then if you don't know about it, you feel like you are the only one who is left out. So this kind of pressure, social media can give, but you don't agree. So you
No.
are healthily use social media so far. Not like me, but how about weekends? A lot of times, I actually regret using too much my time on social media. Because I just wanted to check one video on YouTube, but it leads to the other videos, and then I spend maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, and then suddenly I realize what am I doing, and then I have a lot of work to do. So I hope you are not doing it. Okay. Anyway, okay, you can actually. Anyway, I need to let you know that I brought our textbooks on the first floor for the office. Okay, you can buy your textbook. It's a little bit expensive, but we need these textbooks. So I urge everybody. So stress changes your body a lot, right? It doesn't just affect our mental health. It affects our physical health as well. So when stressed, your brain release hormone, which is called cortisol. Cortisol. So we will call this cortisol stress hormone. Okay, stress hormone. And chronic elevated cortisol leads to headaches, insomnia, weakened immune function, and even heart
Heart
disease.
disease.
Okay? Your mental state physically reshapes your body. So this kind of mental stress can actually affect physical health. And also, your body changes your mind. So you all experience that after working for a certain period, you feel much better, much refreshed, right? So just 30 minutes of walking can reduce symptoms of depression by up to 40%. It's a lot. So when you feel down, blue, yeah, you need to go outside and walk, right? And physical activity triggers release of endorphins and serotonin, which is very good hormones. natural mood regulators that antidepressants also target. And then especially it matters to the international students because a 2021 study on international students in South Korea found that loneliness, language barriers, and cultural adjustment significantly worsened mental health. And these mental stressors cause physical symptoms like chronic fatigue and digestive problems. So if you feel tired all the time, or if you have some problems with your stomach, then you might suspect that you might have mental stress too much. So it might cause you sick like that. Okay, so let's see how stress hormones affect your body. Okay, so for example, exam is coming up, so you might get a little bit more stressed. The exam or argument with your close ones or loneliness or if you worry about money or other things, our brain detects this kind of danger. And then hypothalamus. There's a small area called hypothalamus in our brain. It sends signal to adrenal glands, which is in the kidney. Okay, it sends signal. And then our body turns on the fight or flight switch. Okay. And then it sends the hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. So these hormones is flooded into our blood. If it is in for a short time, it stays for a short time, it's okay. It is somewhat helpful to us for useful short time, but the problem is that if it stays in our body, in our blood for a long time, it can be very hazardous. It can be toxic, okay? So for short term, these kind of cortisol or adrenaline cause our heart beat a little bit faster, and then our muscle gets tense, and our focus can be sharpened, which can be a good, right? So, for example, if you think that you are taking an exam, you need your focus to be sharpened, right? So these kind of hormones can sometimes help. But the problem is that if it stays long, if it becomes chronic, we have a lot of problems. But when stress is chronic, it lasts for weeks or a month, cortisol stays high all the time in our blood or in our body. In that case, a lot of things, a lot of bad things happen. For example, in brain, about the brain, we may have memory problems, and then we cannot concentrate. And hippocampus, which is called the HEMA in Korea, but a certain area which takes care of our memory storage like that. So it shrinks, which means that you cannot remember what you have studied. And you can have high blood pressure and fast heart rate, and then you have more chances of heart disease. And about immune system, it can be weak, so you will be sick more often, and then if you hurt, the healing takes more time, and then you have chronic inflammation. It doesn't heal well like that, and then also you have some trouble sleeping, insomnia. Anyway, is there anyone who suffers from insomnia?
No.
Luckily, no. Okay, but I see a lot of actually people suffer from insomnia, so they have to take this medicine, otherwise they cannot go to sleep. This is horrible, actually. Anyway, yeah, and or poor quality of sleep, and then so that's why you feel exhausted all the time, and then also you have some problem with your digestion, so you can feel stomach pain and your appetite changes, and then also IBS symptoms, irritable bowel syndrome. So you have to go to bathroom a lot like that. Okay, so stress is not just in your head; it physically damages every system. Okay, from your brain to every body, every part of your body.